While Jesus was telling all these stories, these parables to the people, the Pharisees were listening, and they didn't like the things that Jesus had to say because it was all directed at them. But the Pharisees and the high scribes were listening, and they thought, we've got to think of a way to stop this man. We've got to, if we could just turn them against Jesus. And they were trying to think of all kinds of, they came up with a trick question, something that was kind of personal to all of them. And so one of the Pharisees came up to Jesus, and he said to Jesus, do you think that it's a right thing and legal to have to pay our taxes to the Roman government? We're Jews, and none of us like paying these taxes to Rome. What do you think? Oh, they were hoping to turn people against Jesus because he'd probably side with the Romans. That's what they're asking. So Jesus turned to somebody, and he said, somebody out here have a coin? Yeah, thank you, sir. And he held up the coin, and he said to the Pharisees, whose picture is on this coin? And they said, well, it's a picture of Caesar. And he turned it over, and he said, whose picture, or whose name is on the back? And they said, well, Caesar's name is on the back. And he said, therefore, it's lawful to give to Caesar the things that belong to Caesar, and to God the things that are God's. And, oh, they didn't like that answer at all. And the people out there, yeah, Jesus, go, Jesus. And so Jesus, you know, he answered their question with truth. And, you know, the Jews, and as it says all through the scriptures, we only pay 1/10. God only asks 1/10 of our money to help him with his service of serving others. And he said, so render unto Caesar the things that belong to Caesar, and to God the things that belong to God. Well, again, the Pharisees were completely deflated, and they turn around and they're whispering, and finally in the back there it said, oh, get that guy. They had a lawyer come up, and they were whispering to the lawyer. And so the lawyer came right up to Jesus boldly. And the lawyer said, Jesus, what do you think is the most important commandment in the law? Trying to trick him again. And Jesus said, well, you've heard me say, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and thy neighbor as thyself. And on these two things hang all the law and the commandments. And the lawyer said, well, what do you mean? And Jesus said, well, the first four, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and thy neighbor as thyself, and with all thy heart. He said, these first four are our relationship with God. That addresses our relationship with God. And the last 6 addresses our relationship with our neighbor. And the lawyer just kind of looked at him and thought about it. And you know, he had to agree with him, because Jesus said, on these hang all the law and the prophets. And Jesus was right. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, the first 4, and thy neighbor as thyself, the last 6, complete, 10. And you know what? The lawyer went from the side of the Pharisees over to agreeing with Jesus. See, they just couldn't get Jesus on anything. Jesus was so true, and so complete. There's not a thing they could hang on him at all. So I'll leave it off there right now. We've just got a bunch of Pharisees that are mad as hornets. They really want to kill him. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.